Memo bi akwaba eba Melodies TV so. Another day, another story on Kenofoyata. Na enra say story a mede bremo on Kenofoyata na mehu ne se nkofo bebre na moedwa. The majority leader Mahama Yariga say wa apologize no. Ama grassroots in fact commenter minya no enya asem ketwa. Na based on Mahama Yariga ni apology no ensem bia Afenyo Markin mo kekan e parliament. Now one of the things Afenyo Markin ekan parliament and they say Kenofoyata has been traumatized by the raid at his private residence. Now Obronikas will be aye traumatized there. Natrese nipa krono ase asem na to ne so amana boto oje ne ho enje ati ase onsi ni dade mu ye na trese Kenofoyata ye koko ready ni fie no he has been traumatized. Now you see I'll say this and I'll continuously say this. MPP4 Mama what you say most of them are suffering from narcissistic personality disorder. And I've told you what it means. You can't be a narcissist. Unhune say wono pe no ye nipa wo wiase mu. Unhune say wono de obetumi aye obi bibi. Nanso ye na half of saade na kra na we dwa na ne buefu because ono de wo ye nipa sin obi antie ni kwan se ye na saade no. MPP4 ya we kese pa no. And then Kenofoyata ese why traumatized. Why? Because Mr. Jakpa any soldiers be 12 akonifie enu hunti why traumatized. I'll show you the definition of what being traumatized is. Yankin Kai, also the minority leader Alexander Kwamena Afenyo Markin has disclosed that former Minister of Finance Kenofoyata is traumatized following a raid at his private residence by operatives of the National Security. Speaking on the floor of Parliament on Thursday, February 13, 2025, he condemned the incident and assured the House that Kenofoyata is willing to cooperate with investigations related to the alleged corruption case. As of this morning, I had an extensive engagement with him. He is traumatized by the labeling of this. He left the country with permission and will make himself available if there is anything to be investigated. It is not easy to serve your country, and I'm sure all shall be well for the good of us all. Into a say, anopei one Kenofoyata kasae, na wutie Kenofoyata niya. Kenofoyata sa asana tone so waye traumatized. Say ye friend say waye fugitive no, atone so. Na umbeze ebe froze fugitive. Na asembae. According to this, well, I mean, maybe it's the special prosecutor's word against that of Kenofoyata. But according to the special prosecutor, no. Oh, I can't say, oh, call medical leave, indefinite. But how do you say that? How do you even do that? I had an interview from Nanabi Award, say Kenofoyata beba o manimu by March. I think, say, if Kenofoyata was able to communicate that to the special prosecutor, nankiyendu baby ayedu. If you knew, so you'll be coming into the country by March. Maybe I work at a special prosecutor and say, oh, I am on an emergency, a medical emergency. March and sana me home betom ya to me aba. I think say no oba be can a special prosecutor no hena say time into me na wama ho kwan meboa ana waka ono so de owo atrel. Ba waka special prosecutor ne say wo medical emergency na indefinite. Na ebi mu nsem o kan say ane yawe de won mo person mo defending no yawe de say wu nim de beto say wu nim de be we wu nim de be we. I mean, how can you even see that? You can't tell us it is indefinite. Intino o say Kenofoyata si obeba bad obeba na enye easy si ebe bugana o man no enye easy say obeye penia obebu o man no. O CCTV footage showing individuals allegedly raiding the private residence of the former finance minister emerged on Tuesday, February 11, 2025. The incident reportedly occurred at his home in Cantonment, Accra, while he was out of the country receiving medical care. Eyewitnesses claim the group consisted of about 12 individuals comprising of 5 in military uniforms, one in a police uniform, and the rest in plain clothes. Meanwhile, Ofori Atta has been declared wanted by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. During a press briefing on Wednesday, February 12, 2025, the Special Prosecutor, Kisi Ejabin, declared him a fugitive on charges of causing financial loss to the state in several dealings, including the construction of the National Cathedral and the Ghana Revenue Authority's contract with Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited. So basically, this is the story, and this is what Afenyo Markin is saying. So Afenyo Markin is telling us Ofori Atta is traumatized. I don't know the reasoning behind Afenyo Markin making this statement, but if Afenyo Markin is making this statement so that Ghanaians will feel pity for Ofori Atta, let me let you know the proper definition of being traumatized, and let me give you a perfect example of traumatization. Here's definition of traumatized. Traumatized, right? Let's look at the proper definition of traumatized. Or say, traumatized, subject to lasting shock as a result of a disturbing experience or physical injury. Subject to a lasting shock as a result of a disturbing experience or physical injury. Inti yeka say traumatized anipa kono e was shock mu. Was shock it because BBSC wana bra bomu a trese odwen wan wonte ase. Ati ase. Inti no ne yeka ne say nipa kono e traumatized. Na me pesa me tre Afenyo Markin what it means to be traumatized. Me say me wo me madamfo ne bra penyin na oye bank official. Oye bank official. Anyway, I don't know, it'll be personal story, so I don't want to bring it here. But the generalization of the whole thing, you can't traumatization. And they say, "Wobi abre ni moja ni na obi ti se pa kwesi ndum wa bre ni moja ni na odinisika ewura bank emu na contractors aba be bobo sin free ne ho a contractors na yaban na wo se oti omuka na afi yaban we refuse se obetia contractors yika uwie ye no wakwa catch rep akwesi ndum say bank na wo run no ye hia a specific amount of money ye hwa woni say sika nti ye close no o say oh aban we de enye bone nkrofo aba be gimi sika free me ho kofo no mo agi sika na free me ho no nso de omuka uti omo a menya sika na me de ahia anemu na problem a wo say ye problem no etu etwa mo ka tren say dabi mu wie na mo sanso ka tren say unim wo de enye hwe ma ye reduce o bank no embra savings and loans into to minya osika ni wi a na afi waba be apply for a banking ni wenya bank no no say okay no problem esa na mo say mo be media modern bank me ba savings and loans no oti ho ba bi one day onya call the savings and loans na mo dia ban kra no mo close na trese sisi ano mo gu ne bank egu ne bank totally, and everyone will attest to the fact say Ghana hani na banka na ewo branches wo bebia all over the country eye pa kwesi ndu ne banks inti yensua nyansa ntenase hu ne se at least papa ye wo hwe bra wabo ene senia ne banks no ewo rural areas me se pa kwesi ndu banks o bebia ye ni any kwan se ye wo banks kra wo bank wo. And you see it even help people omo ya no mko kwan so am robbers ya attack omo no odinisika ebekwa akoto pa kwesi ndum bank na ewo ekrase no so ba bedu krom na obeto ade a na wakwa akoje. You see it even helped people mo ba begu nyama we ni na. You want to understand what traumatization means? That is what you mean by traumatization. You traumatize this man. Answer ni ebegu banks ne kra no se ni na pa kwesi ndum onam. Let me show you a story. Let me show you. Sarkodie made a post on that. If I'll see that story, Sarkodie speaks. Let me show you. Let me show you. If I'll see that story. several years since. I'm not sure that story will be available, but I'm not sure that story will be available. Anyway, but Paco Sindum, answer na mobile close in the bank no. Papa ba be si dwom. Obesi dwom. Ana wo hwe na waye mobo. E ma sometimes sa akode kra ba betro social media wo hwe papa yi se ne waye mobo a wo si dwom kra na. Ono sa akode ne kra ye ne mobo. Sa akode aye ka so ye MPP ni no. Ono kra ye ne mobo se eni ya ma papa yi bresi. You want to understand what traumatization means. And after 8 good years, Koko tie Paco Sindum, the ordeal he went through. Obi biara mo close in the bank bia wo ba be kasa o si oh ya ba be hu mu no mo ma yeti ase se o ya asem ye de na mo be ke bia ma ye twa ye chipe no na bone no mo ama nesi omuni na nsem o mo kan no UT Bank captain ononso. You want to understand what traumatization means, what you made him go through, how this man from ground up built his company, mobile na mobile good PPR, and then every single UT office has been overtaken by Ghana Commercial Bank. Every single UT office, the properties, yeah. Otie wonu poni nsemo ano woka. O si chese ono no de na otumi hu ne say your time hunu, because the properties kra no. Moba ho na mo say properties. Na o si we close me bank amate. There's no need to ba. Baby a bia me bank no wona wo be say nyama e wo ho. I mean, o tre say e your time na what time me. UT. Nti eno kra ma ebi mu nsem o mo ka ne say adan papa yi emra na MPP mu opposition. Mo kwosre ne nsemu eye events bosia. E na wa mamo ana nsemu ana nkrofo ka no. You want to understand what traumatization is. The mother year no na ne traumatization. Say do agongo. Say nansin wokasa. You want to understand traumatization. But you see, sa closing of the banks in Krano. Say ye kasa about the owners of the banks in Krana. Those people are the high hanging fruit. Inti enye omo wasem. The ordinary Ghanaian na no ye juma was our bank. And there were people who were working in those banks, and say still most of them they are still not employed. They are still not employed. There were managers of those banks up to Lende or Mabrabo Assassin, still not employed. We've seen stories of Ebimu managers of those banks and there Ebimu Chi Uba and there Obi Edianin Wonia Obi Betobia and Sana Wenyasika. They are hene nebusian for. And so no a bank manager just closed the banks without thinking of these people. And then more Baba Bekatre and say Kenufuyata has been traumatized. Adeya Nifi and Grofaba be radio. I'm not supporting the raid. But you want to understand what traumatization is. Some more person will say traumatization as here. Please, it shouldn't be Kenufuyata. Please, it should be someone else. But you want to use Kenufuyata and traumatization in the same sentence. It won't work. Yes, Afenyo Markin. Say a sympathy na wo siki a nipa kro na wo siki sympathy no wono. Na mo MPP 4 kra na MPP 4 be break kra wo ho ye omode. Sa de we ato Kenufuyata. MPP 4 be bre ye omode. Enya Afenyo Markin na wan na aje se wo ye MPP asem ntimi de memfa manunko shem bia MPP asem bia memfa manun shem a na ka Afenyo Markin wo obi a MPP mo asori etia Kenufuyata se wa ball man na Ghana fo nto abantia no mumu bebre na enya mode MPs bebre na ye omode se de yeto Kenufuyata MPP supporters bebre ye omode de yeto Kenufuyata. That is why some of your MPs can say eye Kenufuyata na ne cross omra me carry enra. You see, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, arrears, National Service, Omusika na MPP4, was a mutia, muntia. You see, and 3 months. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, wababe clear arrears no. And I saw an MPP commentator, social media commentator, na wo di MPP mpenyifo atem say say MPP mpenyifo mo Jimmy say. Na ono de o feel say sika na ni ho e na muntumi ntia national service for. Say sika no wo ho e na mo amo ntia embre na munim say mo koto aba. No nhye Jimmy saada. E no bi ba be ka tren say eye kenofo yata. Eye kenofo yata. Obetie sika no mpeso obetia. The opeso di sika ne ye. Ase otumi tre say we no yentia we ma yentia. Obi comment oba be pass no as to whether it is true or not, I don't know. But you want to talk about traumatization. It shouldn't be Kenufo. How this man has traumatized people in this country. In some no menyamba mo pesi ye konsem ne so. This man, his age mates, womo ebre womo jeniama on my way. Ebi omusika akwa akoto government bond. One of the most prudent investment decisions anyone could make. Mo ba be ma wo mo a wo mo de nyansa ebo brano sebe akohwifo eso eba be nyamfa so sen omo ebi nsi ewo ewiase kuro bia so only in Ghana. Say ye ni na ya bobra 30 years. Mi sika na mi nyaye no me say ma bobra 30 years. Na say sika no me di koto government bond me di sie na awo ama me ne mebusua da achi bi se me ni hokra na mebusua at least me je omo ejapade. Obi after 30 years onye say sika no odikotwa ne num spedede kohwibra de kopemba de ko bo ahyawo mo ma ni pakro na wo de say sika no de ko bo kohwibra de kopemba de ko bo ahyawo no mo ma ono enya sika no so mfaso esen ni pakro ka se ma me fa sika ni nsie emma daache mo Kenufo na yes ade no ye be ka mo be ka traumatization. Do you know what those people went through? Even up till now, do you know what they go through? You want to talk about traumatization. Now pese odi no kom pese ye ready ufie e ba de krase ye hu videos no mo ba koma anye gidigidi omo ba ma ba remu omo anse bibia amfa bibia eno na o traumatization no. Obi life savings, life investments. Odi unsa bebo mu say gbo wa say no. Eno na traumatization. The funny part, and it's not even the funny part, the sad part is these people every single morning came, sat in front of the finance ministry, begged you. When bu omo say wo mo ye nipa mpo. When bu omo say we di embre wafo. Wa we chese wa we busuani kra ba be kan wo mo ho. We busuani from the side of President Akufo-Addo. Eba be kan wo mo ho. Say na ede na mo ye yi. Ede na mo de embre wafo ne nkokrafo wo krom ha. Mo mbu omo say wo mo ye nipa. You want to talk about traumatization? Do you know the number of people who died from that act? You want to talk about traumatization? Charlie, let it be someone else, not Kenufo. When it comes to traumatization, it should be someone else. What? You think you can come and seek for pity with things like this? Hey, let's hear from your comment box.